Kita Farms. Nicholas, founder and CEO of Gethsemane AI and Robotic Solutions Ghana. Thank you for joining us. Anyone else? Okay, let's get started with the session. I'm sure people will join us later on, and we're also recording a session, so anyone who has missed out would be able to get the recording later on. I'm here joined by my colleagues, Somto, Ofi, Daniel. Thank you all for joining us. The screen would not be manned by me, so in case you hear me say next slide, it's just to prompt my colleague to turn over to the next slide for me. So who are we? Who is MEST Africa? MEST Africa was established by the Meltwater Foundation in 2008, and we are the nonprofit arm of the global media intelligence company Meltwater. If you've heard about Meltwater, you can indicate in the chat. If not, that is fine. You can just search their website later on to find out more about what they do. And our mission is to create job opportunities and foster economic growth in Africa. And we primarily do that through software entrepreneurship. Our foundation is based in Accra, and our flagship program, the MEST training program, is a one-year specialized tech entrepreneurial training program to high caliber talent from across the continent. In our last cohort, we had representation from 18 countries, and the cohort was about 50. So it truly shows that we are, even though we are based in Accra, Ghana, we are not just open to Ghanaians, but we are open to supporting aspiring tech entrepreneurs across the continent. We launched the MEST programs in 2020 to focus on partnerships with other foundations and organizations who share our mission of creating wealth and jobs in Africa through digital skills training and startup acceleration. Since our inception, we've trained over 2,000 entrepreneurs and invested over 90 plus startups from across the continent and across industries. If you have any question, please make sure that you put it either in the chat box or use the Q&A feature, and at the tail end, we will answer them. I'm sure some of you are wondering what the MEST Africa Challenge is. Some may have heard about it. For those who don't, I'm going to tell you all about it. So during MEST 10th anniversary, we launched the MEST Africa Challenge to expand our reach and our impact across the continent. The MEST Africa Challenge, or MAC, as we like to call it, is a Pan-African pitch competition for early-stage technology startups seeking to ramp up traction and get into the next stage of growth. Over the years, we were sector agnostic and we had our countries of focus, but this year, we are looking at narrowing down to just agri-tech and across West Africa as well. We've had different partners over the years, and we are also offering $50,000 in equity investment to the grand prize winner. We're offering perks from our partners, not just to the grand prize winner, but also to some of our top finalists, and support from the MEST Africa global community as well. So as mentioned, this year we are strategically pivoting to focus on West Africa and targeting markets like Benin, Cape Verde, Cote d'Ivoire, Gambia, Ghana, Guinea-Bissau, Liberia, Mauritania, Nigeria, Senegal, Sierra Leone, and Togo. For the first time, we're also going to be emphasizing the agri-tech sector, recognizing the significant potential that it's been gaining across the continent. If you know any agri-tech startup or agri-tech founder in any of the markets that we'll be focusing on this year, would like to encourage you to let them know that the MEST Africa Challenge 2024 is open and they can stand a chance to win $50,000 in equity funding. This year's theme is Find Your Soil, and would like to invite you to join us as we gather key stakeholders from the Pan-African ecosystem to uncover and accelerate groundbreaking innovations from startups across the continent. Next slide, please. As a reminder, if you have a question, please use the Q&A box or the chat feature. Over the years, we've had various winners. I don't know if you recognize any of the startups. So over the years, we've had winners from across the continent. Accountia was our winner in 2018, Wire in 2019, Snow Technologies 2019 as well, Oze 2019, Kilimo Fresh based in Tanzania in 2020, Kweli based in Senegal 2022, and Kwa Academy based in South Africa in 2023. If you recognize any of these companies, you can indicate in the chat below. We'd just like to know whether you know them or not. So as mentioned, we're going to run in 14 countries in West Africa this year. And as a reminder, we are only going to be targeting agri-tech startups in these countries. If you're from any of these countries and you have an agri-tech startup, or you know any agri-tech founder in any of these countries, please encourage them to apply. The link would be in the last slide of this deck, and we'll also put this in the chat for anyone who wants to forward it. So what is the criteria? Really simple. We're looking at early stage technology startups located in any of the markets that we'll be focusing on this year. We want to make sure that you are generating revenue. So at least you have an MVP and you have a product market fit as well. A minimum of $5,000 monthly recurring revenue is advised. You shouldn't have raised more than $1 million cumulatively. You should have been in existence for 3 years or below. You should have at least 6 months of recurring revenue. Your founding team you should be registered in Delaware. This is preferred, but it's not a must. So if you don't have your company registered in Delaware just yet, don't let this prevent you from applying. You can still apply. Any business model, so whether you are B2B, B2C, B2B2C, or B2G, you're encouraged to apply. All participants, whether you are French speaking or not, would have to pitch in English. We do have tech support for any of our Francophone applicants who need support in either translating their pitch deck or practicing their pitches in English. If you need any of that support, you can email us at mac@meltwater.org, and we'll put you in touch with the organization that would be supporting you. I'm just going to type the email address in the chat. So if you need any support, please feel free to email us. So what are the stages of the competition? You must complete an online application before the 4th of October. We will then review this on a rolling basis. As part of the application process, you would have to submit a pitch deck and a 5-minute video pitch maximum. On the 5-minute video pitch, we are not looking at the quality of your video, but it's just an opportunity for you to tell us more about your business. So if your pitch deck does not highlight some of the salient points and you'd like to maybe show us a video, a demo of your product, you'd like to walk us through your pitch deck, you're more than allowed to do that and attach it to your application. We will then go on to select the top 20 semi-finalists. We would have the virtual semi-finals competition, select the top 5 startups from the top 20, and we will host an in-person grand finale and demo day in Accra for the top 5. Don't worry about the cost. MEST is going to cover your flight cost, your accommodation, your feeding, and anything related to your travel to Accra as part of the final demo day. Some of the important dates: the application deadline is on the 4th of October. So please make sure that you submit your application before the 4th of October. We will be reviewing on a rolling basis. So the earlier you submit your application, the better. The virtual semi-finals are going to be on the 29th of October and the 30th of October, 2024. We will communicate the time to you, but it would be on Zoom. The final demo day is the dates for the final demo day in Accra will be announced, but we'll make sure that we give you at least a month notice so you can prepare to fly into Accra. Okay, so before we go into some of the FAQs, I don't know if there are any questions for us. You can either raise your hand and we'll give you permission to speak, or you can use the chat box. You can also use the Q&A feature if that is more comfortable for you. And in the Q&A, you can mark your question as anonymous if you don't want us to know who asked the question. So I'll pause for a minute in case there are any questions before we move on to the FAQs. Okay, I don't see any question just yet, so we'll run through the FAQs. Maybe some of these questions would answer some of the questions that you initially had. What are the video pitch guidelines for the application? As mentioned, the video should be a maximum of 5 minutes, so minimum 3 minutes, maximum 5 minutes. Sorry, there was a typo on this slide, and it can be taken with a mobile phone. As I mentioned earlier, we would not be assessing the quality of the video, so you don't need to have a whole production team with lighting to make sure that you look good. We'll be assessing the content and would like to know more about your product. Please make sure that you appear clearly on camera for the pitch, whoever would be walking us through or submitting the video. This means that we will not be accepting animated videos with text and a voice over. Applicants will not be scored on the video quality. As I mentioned, the focus is going to be on the pitch itself. However, please make sure that you are not just visible, but you are audible as well. And the video must be in English, even if you are French speaking. As a reminder, we do have someone that can support French speakers with their translation, their pitch decks, and preparing for the pitch competition. Just send us an email using the email address that I put in the chat, and we'll be happy to assist you. Next slide. The semi-final pitch competition would be private and it will be virtual. So we'll share a link in advance to all the semi-finalists. You would have 5 minutes to pitch and 5 minutes Q&A for the semi-finalists. The Q&A or the questions are normally asked by the judges in case they want clarity on your product, and you'll be allowed to answer immediately after as well. You can include a live demo for your product during your pitch. However, it should be within time. So please be mindful of this. In the past, we have seen people that have attached maybe a YouTube video that shows an overview of what their product looks like. It is completely allowed. Our only ask is please make sure that you remain within the 5 minute time, because we can be very brutal and we will cut you off after the time ends. The pitch would be in English and the Q&A as well. For French speakers, we appreciate the efforts that you put into refining your pitch in English. We are working on getting translation so that at least you'll be able to answer your questions from the judges in French. So we would arrange to have a translator as well, if that is more comfortable for you. The pitch competition is going to be hybrid. As mentioned, the semi-finals will be virtual and the final demo day would be in Accra, Ghana. MEST is going to cover the cost for your flights, accommodation, feeding, and anything else that you need while you be in Accra. So please, that should not be a hindrance to you coming and participating in the pitch competition. When will the winners be announced? The semi-finalists will be announced a few days after the pitch, and the overall challenge winner will be announced at the end of the final demo day. So you would find out immediately after the pitch immediately after the pitch on the final demo day if you have won, and the semi-finalists would be announced a few days later on our social media channels. If you are not following us, please make sure that you follow us at MEST Africa on all platforms. So I'm just going to put that in the chat as well. Yes, all the finalists will be expected to be in Accra for the final demo day. Please make sure that you have representation. If you can't make it to Accra, sadly, your team would have to be disqualified because we would not be accepting virtual pitches on the day. Who incurs the cost of travel for the final demo day in Accra? Finalists will be fully sponsored with travel to and from Accra, housing and transport for the final pitch day in December. Please plan to arrive in Accra a few days before. How long are the finalists expected to be in Accra for the final demo day? Typically 3 to 4 days. Please plan to arrive in Accra 1 to 2 days before the final competition and plan to depart either the same day of the pitch competition or the day after. This is important because it gives you a chance to settle in. You get to meet with the team. We organize pitch practice as well for all the finalists, give you feedback on your pitch, on your slides, and this has been very instrumental for the previous winners as they prepared for their final pitches. Next slide. Okay, so start your application today. If you are an agritech founder in any of the 14 markets that will be calling for applications for this year, please apply today. You can apply using the link meltwater.org/MAC. It will take you to our application page. If you need more information or you have further inquiries, please contact us, mac@meltwater.org. As a reminder, if you don't qualify but you know any founder or startup that qualifies, please share it with them to apply as well. If you have any questions, please ask them. You can either raise up your hand, we will give you permissions to speak. You can use the Q&A feature, or you can type in the chat box. So we'll just stay on for a few minutes in case you have any questions. There's one that was in the Q&A. Please, if we don't have $5,000 as our monthly recurring revenue, can we still apply? Yes, please, you can still go ahead and apply. The most important thing is to have an MVP and show that you can also prove traction as well. So eligibility criteria is set, but it's not a strict requirement as well. So you're encouraged to apply, shoot your shot. Who knows? You might just make it to the finals and you can even win as well. As a reminder as well, we'll be reviewing the applications on a rolling basis. Thank you to everyone who has started the application. Please try and submit it as early as you can to increase your chances of moving over to the next stage. Yes, we will put the application link in the chat. The equity financing is usually negotiated. So after you are announced as the winner, we will go through a series of due diligence. We would look at your cap table, we'll look at your financials, and we will discuss what the equity percentage is going to be. I see a few hands have been raised, so I'm going to give them permission to speak so they could ask their questions. Okay, Davidson, please ask your question.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so I'm Davidson. So I run Rotal Hub in Liberia, Monrovia, Liberia. So we are more like a hub, although we've got some plans to be able to roll out some startups. As a hub, we also have some projects that we sort of engaged in. I mean, some bright ideas that we're trying to see how we can become something much more into something that can bring about change and move the country forward. Can this be considered as can this be channeled or transformed into a pitch for this program? That's one. Are hubs allowed to also pitch their projects as well?
So by project, can you explain maybe what the project is, just to make sure that I understand you clearly? You can just give an overview.
Right, so for example, so we've got quite a number of projects that we are envisioning or we are contemplating about, one of which, the one that we're currently thinking about right now is how we can be able to help the Liberian police with the ticketing, because usually a police will issue a ticket, right? But this is not digitized. So we're trying on creating some sort of a project that will enable that ticketing to go smoothly and enable the police to generate the right revenue that they need for that purpose, or to ensure that those offenders, I mean, those people that receive the ticket actually get justice or something. Because sometimes they just issue the ticket and it just go into one other police pocket or something. That's one. Okay, there's also a project that's coming up now for smart traffic lights and stuff like this. So, can this be considered as something that we can pitch into this program?
Thank you for your question, and I love the idea. It's a very brilliant idea. Sadly, we are focusing on agri-tech startups for this particular program, so it's out of our scope. But then you are in one of the markets that we are targeting as well. So I would advise you to maybe look for other opportunities within that sector focus, either locally or globally, and then apply for it. But the MEST Africa Challenge this year is only open to agri-tech startups. Sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you. There was another hand that was raised. Lamino, I'm going to give you permissions to speak now.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
All right, thank you very much. I'm Isaka Laminu, as the name goes. We are into fish breeding and fish farming. We also render training to farmers across Ghana, Sierra Leone, Burkina Faso. And then we are also into feed formulation. So I would want to know, are we in the right time, or are we qualified to apply for this program?
To confirm, is there any tech element to your business? Do you use tech in any way?
Yes, we use
Okay, technology. How do you use the technology?
In fact, we try to go green. So we use green technology in our production by using something like waste produced from cassava peel in making fish feed. And then we also use something like rice husk, which normally go waste in the environment, causing environmental pollution and other stuff. We use them in feed formulation. And then instead of using antibiotics and other stuffs, we are switching from antibiotics to probiotics by ensuring the health of our consumers. So this is basically what we are into with respect to technology.
Okay, I'd encourage you to apply for it because you are kind of in the sector, and based on the pitch deck, we would assess and get back to you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you too. So there are a few questions in the Q&A as well. Must the MVP be a tech-enabled product or a business that promotes technology? Please, we are looking for tech-enabled products. So please make sure that what you are applying for or what you'll be submitting, your business is tech-enabled. We'll be putting the application link in the chat shortly, and a website or a web link to where you can learn more about MAC. Okay, so there's a question. When you say agritech, can you please explain? Daniel, would you like to take this question live?
Yeah, sure. I'll be happy to address the question. So basically, we mean using technology in agriculture. And for MAC, we are more focused on software technology. So basically, that is what we expect of you in terms of you trying to be part of the MEST Africa Challenge, using technology, and it has to be a software technology to help scale your agriculture business. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you, Daniel. There's another question in the chat. Aside from funding, does it come with other perks? Also, what has been the trend or growth for the startups that won previously? Daniel, would you like to take this question live as well?
Yeah, sure. So aside from then, we also have partners that have come on board to be part of the MEST Africa Challenge, where they provide perks to the applicants. So if we are fortunate and selected to be part of the 20 semi-finalists, there are some perks and benefit that comes along with it. It could be cloud credit in Amazon, Google Cloud. And so these are some of the benefits that you get to enjoy once you become part of the MEST Africa Challenge and you're shortlisted to be part of the 20 semi-finalists. And in terms of growth for the startup that have won, MEST provides African-wide support to companies that become part of the portfolio. And so they leverage on our network, our mentors and expertise, and also the community at large. And we've seen the tremendous progress of the past winners. Kilimo Fresh is even trying to raise a Series A. So it tells you that coming on board and winning sort of gives you a leverage. And the leverage is basically the community, the mentors, and then the network within the MEST community that you can help drive and scale your business. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Daniel. Just to add to what you said as well, it's not just the grand prize winner who gets the benefit from the perks. The top 20, the semi-finalists would also get access to some of the perks, and you'd all stand a chance, or you'd all benefit from the global visibility as well. For the previous years, I remember there was one of the startups that told us that once they were shortlisted as the semi-finalists for the MEST Africa Challenge, some of the investors that they had approached who initially turned them down suddenly opened their doors to them and wanted to hear them out again because of the MEST brand that was attached to their business. So being shortlisted with the comms that we'll put out and the PR is good for your business. You would get access to support from us, from our global community. You would get some of the perks that Daniel spoke about. We'll be announcing the full perk list a little later, but there are lots of benefits that your startup would be able to benefit from by applying for the MEST Africa Challenge. The equity funding is the grand prize, but besides that, there's a lot more that you can benefit from. So please send in your application, encourage your network to apply as well. There's a question in the chat. In the eligibility criteria, it is mentioned that to be eligible, you must have made at least 10K monthly over the last 5 or 6 months. Can you explain a little more? Sure, we can explain some more. So just to clarify, we were saying at least $5,000 of monthly recurring revenue. And monthly recurring revenue is different from profits. Bear that in mind. And we want to see at least 6 months of traction. So you should have been generating revenue for at least 6 months. So we're not looking at idea stage, but revenue generating startups in agritech across our 14 markets. And we also want to see that you are making revenue of at least $5,000 revenue. If you are a little shy of that, would still like to encourage you. If you are a little shy of that, would still like to encourage you to apply. I hope that answers your question, Lucian. Yes, answers your question. Great. Thank you all for joining. I would run through the eligibility criteria again. Okay, so there's a question. Would there be just one prize in the competition? One organization gets $50,000 investment? Yes, there's only going to be one grand prize winner. However, all the other top 5, or let's say top 4 who come into Accra will get access to some perks, and will also offer perks to the top 20 semi-finalists as well. So far as you've been shortlisted, MEST tries as much as possible to provide some support to you. Yes, if you have more questions, please reach out to our official email, matt@meltwater.org. I'm just going to put that in the chat now, and we'll be happy to assist you. As a reminder, if you've started an application, thank you very much for starting the application. We will be reviewing on a rolling basis, so please be sure to complete it as early as you can. Yes, Ikena, I've just given you permission to speak. Yes, we can, but can you speak? Yes.
Yes, I just wanted to ask a quick question. And so with the 50K prize, the valuation for that investment, how is that determined?
Daniel, would you like to take this question live?
Sure, I'll be happy to. Ikena, can you come again on your question, please?
Yeah, the question is for the 50K grand prize, how will the valuation of the prize, like the valuation of the company and that investment, how will that be valued? Like last round valuation, negotiation, a minimum amount?
So it's basically based on negotiation. I mean, once you announce as the prize winner, our investment committee also comes in where we meet with you. We do a due diligence to see your cap table, your price round, and all that. So based on an understanding, then we can negotiate in terms of the value that MEST will be getting out of it, and then we put a price around it. I don't know if I've answered your question.
Answered it perfectly. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your question, Ikena. Thank you, Daniel, for answering. Will only Delaware registered companies be shortlisted as part of the top 20 finalists? As mentioned, it is not a strict requirement. We do prefer that you are registered in Delaware because of the favorable laws there. However, if you are not registered, you're still encouraged to apply. It doesn't mean that if your company is not registered in Delaware, you would not be shortlisted or you cannot win. In the previous years, not all our startups were registered in Delaware, but some of them still won the MEST Africa Challenge. So please don't let that be a hindrance. As mentioned, our eligibility criteria is not hard or a strict requirement. It is our preference, and as human as we are, we will be bending around some of the edges. So please apply. You're encouraged to do so. You're encouraged to share this opportunity with any agritech founder you know within the 14 markets that we will be targeting this year. As a reminder, the 14 countries are Kenya, Ghana, Senegal, Nigeria, South Africa, Benin, Cape Verde, Cote d'Ivoire, Gambia, Guinea, Guinea-Bissau, Liberia, Mauritania, Sierra Leone, Mali, and Togo. So I'll run through the applicant criteria once again. You have to be an early stage agritech startup generating a minimum of $5,000 in revenue. You should have raised not more than $1 million. You should have been in existence for at most 3 years, have at least 6 months of recurring revenue, must be operating in at least one of the 14 countries that I mentioned earlier, have at least 2 founding team members, preferred, registered in Delaware, any business model, B2B, B2C, B2B2C, B2G is all accepted, and you must pitch in English, whether or not you are French speaking. As a reminder, the deadline for the application is going to be on the 4th of October, but we will be reviewing on a rolling basis. So please be sure to submit your application as early as you can. I'll just open up to a last set of questions before we wrap up the call. Thank you everyone for joining. Thank you to all of you who have started an application or submitted an application. We really appreciate it, and we would get back to you on whether or not you have gotten to the next stage after the application has been closed. Please apply using the links that I'm going to put in the chat box. You can also share it with your friends, your colleagues, anyone, your network, anyone you know that meets our criteria. If you have any questions or inquiries or you'd like to know more, please email us. We are also open to partnerships as well. So if you'd like to provide any perks to either the top 5 or the top 20, you can send us an email and we'll get to write it back to you. On behalf of the MEST Africa Challenge team, would like to thank you once again for attending our info session. Tomorrow's info session is going to be in French. It would be at 1 p.m. GMT using the same login details. So please share the link with any Francophone agritech founder, ecosystem enabler, a partner that you know who can help us spread the word as well, or who would like to know more about the MEST Africa Challenge. This has been a great time. I've enjoyed telling you more about what we do. Please stay in touch. Email us if you have any questions, and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye, everyone.